Yo, what up, yo? What up? GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do? The sexual revolution is being podcasted. What's going on, my people? Everybody coming in. That's what I'm talking about. Welcome. Happy Sunday. All that good stuff. Doper than dope. The monkey got choked. What's going on? Let me see. I got asked to put the PayPal up. So I'm putting the PayPal up. How about that? There's the PayPal, Modest Guru Inc. on PayPal. The Cash App is up. Wait, the Cash App is not up. My bad. Let me get that up real quick. Bam. Okay. What's going on, y'all? What's going on, my people? How you doing? Let me get the phone lines up too. If let's see the comments. If you hear me good, give me a thumbs up, please. Thumbs up. Happy Sunday, my peoples. Let's get that number up immediately. Phone calls, phone lines are up. I'm hoping we won't have no problems today. You know, I'm figuring this out a little bit at a time, so that's dope. Didn't take me 4 hours to set up today, so there's that. Hopefully. What did I want to talk about today? There's always something on my mind, and then I always get here and I forget what I wanted to talk about. First of all, stupid shout out to everybody who called in on Thursday. We had a live. It was lit. A lot of questions. We ended up doing like 2 hours, so that was dope. But there's something in specific I wanted to talk about is what I find. I went through some stuff this weekend where I had a good friend of mine who we don't really see eye to eye all the time. I don't know if you get that. And I'm in a situation where as you progress, this is something that I think you have to understand. As you progress, so the great thing about practicing ACE, the great thing about moving on this path is that life gets easier, right? You find that all the little things that you used to do, the problems that you had before just don't really happen in the same way. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with the fact that you are moving with intention. So I forget the brother's name, but last live we did, the brother was talking about he was in a relationship and him and his girl had some problems or whatever, and it ended up being a situation where she stepped out on him, and then he was in the relationship because he didn't, you know, I guess he felt like he didn't have any other options or whatever. And we talked on the air about how if he's not in it, that he shouldn't be in it. And when I asked him, why are you in this relationship that you're not happy with somebody that you don't trust, he didn't really understand. He didn't even have an answer for that. And one of the things that I said was, you should never do something that there should be no actions that are not existing intentionally, if that makes sense. That you should be in a situation where everything that you do should be a thought out decision, because if it's not, what ultimately happens is you are in a situation where you have no idea what's going to happen, what you're doing, why you're doing it. So you're kind of in a boat, just going along with no oars, heading for the falls. And a lot of times people will procrastinate because there's situations where you just don't want to make the decision, where the decision that you have to make is too powerful or too difficult, and so you want to avoid the position. What I find moreover is that deciding, making, not deciding, not making a decision is still a decision to not decide. Let me be clear what that means. What that means is that no matter what happens, you are not picking the path that you want to pick. You are ultimately becoming, you are subjecting yourself to other people's decisions, if that makes sense. Everybody hears me, right? Are y'all hearing me good? HVAC Audaz Firm says the dating game has changed, Dante. How can you help us? Real talk. First, let me shout out everybody that's in the call. HVAC Audaz Firm, Abizi, Liben Rivera. Thanks. Happy Sunday to you. Many Faces. Z&D Harmonies is in the building. You played yourself. Kelvin Rodriguez. What up, Kel? Terrell Rico in the building. What is going on with my fucking thing? What the heck is happening? Okay, here it is. Let's see who else. Madara Uchiha. Is that right? Loud and clear. Thank you. So everybody who's in, I just wanted to shout out to y'all. But I mean, what we have to do is, what up, Kel? What up, Kevin? We have to make decisions. We can't be in a situation where we're not going to make decisions about how we want our direction to go, how we want our lives to go. It's important. To Z&D Harmonies, what up? Evil Business, what's popping? Just shouting out to everyone, just giving everybody a little shout out, putting that number up. Phone lines are open. Y'all see I got the PayPal up for those of the international people from Australia and England, Wales and Mongolia, Dubai, everybody who's listening. We got people from all over the place. Man, I'm excited, man. The show keeps getting bigger, and I want to say thank you to y'all. I really appreciate y'all. Don't forget, y'all can super chat me too. You can cash app me. I will shout you out if you cash app me on PayPal me. Much appreciated. Phone lines are open. But what I wanted to say is that we're in a situation where we have to make decisions. As a man, if you want to take control of your life, what you have to do is you have to be in a situation where you are making decisions all the time. You're not leaving anything to chance. You are deciding in what direction your life goes. Super important. Super, super important. Because if you're not going to do that, then you ultimately end up in a situation where you are allowing other people to dictate the nature of your life and how your life progresses. And you don't want to do that because, to be honest, how often do people have their own life together, much less are willing to give you advice on how you should do your life better? It's just weird. And that includes, our parents. And I'm not saying that some of our parents, I don't know. I just know I can speak about mine. I can speak about everybody who has called me. People they have people who are older, maybe wiser, and been through things and maybe even had success. But if you really scrutinize, if you step back and you look at your parents, whether they were happy, did they have a happy marriage? Did they have relationships? Were they happy with the path of their life? Or were they just on a survival mode for the most part? Were they just trying to survive? Which is moreover the point. And I think real happiness comes from when the fact that you decide to do certain things. You make a decision to decide to move your life in a particular direction. And then even if the choice that you make is not the correct choice, you can adjust it. You can change your mind. Like nothing's over until it's over. And so I really want to say that it's like I've said this at least 100 times on these lives, that the two things, the scariest thing and the greatest thing that I ever heard in my life was that that I could do anything that I wanted to do, that I could move my life in a direction that I wanted to move it, regardless of what anybody said or did. If I was willing to make the sacrifices to move in that direction, I could. And that's women, relationships, game. I'm gonna get back to that. I'm gonna get back to the whole the question. Hold on, who said Dante, I need help? I can't scroll it down. That's weird. Is my thing not working good now? Fuck. Here we go. Let me get back to the comments. Let me see if I can scroll up. Hold on. Who is that? HVAC artist. He says, I need help, man. Call in. Tell me what's up. Phone lines is open. Call in, my player. Ain't no biggie. We all good. And somebody said this. I want to address this as well. Somebody said the dating game has changed. Real talk. I forgot who said that, but whoever said it, just read right out. For some reason, I can't scroll up and down on the comments the way I usually do. But let me say, I'm gonna disagree with that. And anybody wants to call in and talk to me about it, wants to say, hey, I'm wrong. By all means, let's rap. Let's rap, because I don't think I'm wrong. I think, yes, there are elements of dating that have changed. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's always the case. But I will say that the basic principles are the same. No matter what you say, I understand that there's social media. I get there's social media. I get that there's dating apps. I get that there's women who all of a sudden now nobody wants to talk on the phone, right? That's a whole thing now. That's a whole ass thing now. Nobody wants to talk on the phone. But you have to understand something. In any situation, if you're not going to dictate the tone of the relationship, you're probably not going to be happy. Now, I'm not saying that you don't make some compromises in some case, but what we're saying is overall, you have to decide what your relationship looks like. You have to decide what direction is, what it looks like, how you're going to operate. And if you're not going to do that, you got a problem. You got a problem, because you're always going to be dissatisfied with this. And the reason why we're so readily willing to just put up with everything that we got is because we don't really understand our value. And a lot of times we don't understand our value because we haven't really worked on it. We may be going to work or picking up the kids or raising our kids or doing whatever we're doing, and we're not really thinking about a direction. I've always used this analogy. When you get an Uber, there's two things that you need to know. One is your current location, and two is where you want to go. If you don't understand those two things, right? If you haven't figured that out, number one, the first thing is you're understanding your current location, because why? Without your current locations, the Uber can't pick you up. So you need a place to start from. And secondly is the destination, where you want to go, because the destination will dictate the path that you have to take, the things that you have to do, the preparation that you need to have. So it's interesting. I don't need it, but the other day I went to I'm in Brooklyn. The other day I went to get the Junior's favorite famous cheesecake. Now, something as simple as getting a piece of cheesecake. What do? You need to know if you got money, if you're going to pay cash, you got your card, you got your wallet, you got your keys. How are you going to get there? Am I going to take a car? Am I going to take an Uber? Am I going to take a cab? Am I going to get somebody else to drop me? When I get there, I got to decide. I know it's in Flatbush. Let me see if this is coming up. I got a call. Come on, man. Come on. It's not ringing. Shit. Hold on. Here we go. You got to call back. I'm gonna have to reset. I'm gonna have to reset the calls, the phone calls. Give me a sec. Sorry about that, guys. Man, oh man, it's Shavitz. Okay, let's see. Let me reset that. To the window. To the window. To the wall. Oh, sorry about that, dudes. My dudes. Bam. Okay. Let's see if we get the phone up again. Okay. All right. Try whoever called in, call back, man. I just reset the phone. So if you can, please call back. So you doing something as simple as going. Let me test myself. Man. Let's see if it comes up. Let's see if this comes up. Yeah, okay. Okay, she's working. Y'all can hit the phones are back up. So something as simple as going to get a cheesecake. Think about all the things that I have to think about, all of the details that have to be considered in order for me to do that. I gotta decide how I'm gonna go. If I got my cash, how am I gonna transfer? How am I gonna travel? And then even when I get there, when I get the cake, I gotta figure: do I want strawberries? Do I want blueberries? What do I want specifically to get? And then I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get home. And I think that if we really think about how extensive is the phones, how extensive something as simple as going to get a piece of cheesecake is, I think we realize then that life is way more complicated than that. What's up? Who am I talking to? Where you calling from?
What up, Dante? This is Kevin.
What up, Kev? What's going on?
What's up, man? I really don't have any questions. I just want to give you your flowers.
I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
Thanks for
fine,
calling
man.
in. I'm quite sure there's something I can help you at. No?
I just want to give you flowers because you really change people's lives, especially mine.
I appreciate you, bro.
Definitely. And I've called in before. I was a guy who
I know. I remember your voice, bro. I remember
Okay,
your voice.
Cool.
I appreciate you calling, bro. Thank you.
Anytime.
All right.
I would say everybody subscribe to Dante and definitely hit up the Cash App.
All right, bro.
All right, take care.
Peace.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving the fact that we got regulars that call in. Thank you so much. Call back whoever just called. I think there's a situation where we have to make these decisions. I lost my train of thought. So I'm saying just to go get a slice of cheesecake is something that seems like a simple task. There's so many details that we take for granted. So if you're thinking about, let's take a task of making your life, having the dates, the women that you want, your life where you want, your job in general. I think then think of how much more complicated that is and the details. And we can't just go, we have to figure out those details because those details are just as important as anything else. So if we want the relationships we want. We want the women that we want. We want to be able to manage a situation. We want to be able to be in relationships with multiple women or just one woman or married or whatever. And we want to have a good marriage and wedding. We have to manage all the details. All the little particular details are so important. And if we don't think about those details and don't make clear decisions about that, then we can't move forward. So I think it's something that we don't consider because we're so busy. We're so accustomed to just moving forward. Here's the task. I'm moving forward, and I don't even have to think about. I don't even have to think about the details of that. And I think all of those things are very, very, very important, if that makes sense. So, you know, I start to, I shudder when I hear somebody call in and they are reacting on this emotional level with no intention and with no real thought on, well, what am I trying to accomplish? What is my point of reference? Where am I trying to go? Because that dictates everything. I know, I'm trying to, I'm old, but I'm trying to stay in shape, trying to lose weight, trying to get to where I want to be, the best version of myself. And I probably shouldn't have been going to cheesecake. But if I had thought about that first, then I probably wouldn't be talking about going to get cheesecake. But, my guilty pleasure. So, let me see. Yeah. So it's a thing I think you have to think about on all levels whenever you're moving forward. Phone lines are open, 929-269-4922. Call in. Lines are open. I know we had some people. I'm trying to I can do this thing now. Good. HVAC Audis says he needs help. Call in. I'm going to get back to this question. Happy Sunday. The dating game has changed. Okay, this is HVAC Audis. The dating game has changed. How can you help us? Real talk. That was one of the first ones one of the first comments I got since we started doing this live. So what I was saying also is yes, I do agree that there's different elements to dating, but it's all manageable. Like I say something often. I say true wisdom is the understanding of underlying concepts, how they relate to situations that seem irrelevant but really are not. And if we
Jason, and I got a really important question.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yo, it's Dayton. I'm calling from Canada, Montreal.
What's going on, Jace? How you doing?
Doing good, man. You and fucking Patrice saved my life 10 years ago, and kind of on that game, and I need some advice for the first time in a long time, man.
Well, that's good. Let's go. What can I help you with?
All right, so I lived in a city with less than 1 million people, super small, super hard to kind of do that. And then I moved to Montreal where it's like millions of people, and it's a huge dating transition. I went from used to, it's a boring city, so we just hook up because there's nothing to do there. And now I'm going on all these dates, and girls are a lot more slow. But I found this one girl who
Stop. When you say slow, what do you mean?
I mean, I'm used to begging on the first date, and then we're fuck friends for months. But now it's 2-3 dates until I get the prize,
Now, do you think that's because it's just different because of the amount of people around, or what are the opportunities, or what is why do you think that?
My big thing is, so when I was in Winnipeg, I was big fish, small pond. I had a really nice GT. I take a girl out. She sees the car. I take her 270 on the freeway. She's she's already wet. Here, right. They're oh, I want to go to a museum and this gallery. There's so much shit to do in this city.
Right.
They don't want to just come smash,
Okay.
But there's this one girl that I've been talking to, and we hooked up, and she's telling me how her current fuck friend that she was upset that he wouldn't message her back all the time, wasn't giving her that aftercare. So we hooked up. And then I actually flew back home to visit my Oma for her birthday. And I messaged her a couple times out there, but not. And then since I got back today, I don't really know how to hit that message back to re-engage her because my fuck game was off games. It's been a few months since I banged, and my fuck game is never usually that bad. So I know that's part of it on why she's not so engaging. She replies, but not like she was before, So I'm just trying to figure like what's the best way to hit her up now that I'm back in the city.
All right, so there's a few things here, right? Is your intention to just smash and dash? Is that your usual intention?
Usually, yes, but it depends. Like I usually smash and then I fall in love with the girl after a couple months, and it's the whole karate class thing. I've kind of taken that to a T.
All right, but here's my thing with that, with even that, right? You say it's just about smashing. It's for the most part. But what I'm saying is, yeah, okay. Initially, we want to have, sure, as a man, we want to have sex, right? But the bottom line with any of that is, if a woman has more to give, you want more of that. I mean, so the intention.
100%.
Right.
Yeah. So there's lots of times where I've hooked up with a girl and we start dating like the next week, and I'll date only like, you know, maybe I'm fucking around a bit on the side, but I truly like her. So I'm, you know, giving her more than anyone else kind of thing. So I do kind of get that for sure. Yeah. Like there's always that something more. And again, I've been engaged. I had a 3-year relationship, and then I had another girl I was seeing and she passed away while we were dating. So I'm kind of getting back into things now, and I'm not trying to rush into it because I
honestly don't think that you should rush into anything. I think that everything, like I don't know if you heard the live earlier, but what I was saying was that you need to make decisions. You should never be just doing things for the sake of doing it, because you're always going to end up in a crappy situation. I'm not saying that you can't open yourself up to exploring new things, because you should absolutely do that. But there's something that you said that is kind of I won't say it's a red flag, but it's something I'm definitely thinking about since you said it, right? And that thing is that you said, usually I show them the car, I had the GT, blah, 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 blah. But to me, it's almost like I feel like you're leaning on the fact that you had this car, right? Which is, go ahead.
It's kind of a combination of things. Like I'm a very I will say anything, even if it's kind of out there, not quite Patrice level, but like I'll say like nothing offensive, but I'll just say some outrageous shit and make girls like, I'm a very goofy guy, so it's not just the car. It's like they're laughing like half the time we're together. Like I'm making jokes, we're like teasing her, flirting.
Right, but here's my point. I guess what I'm saying is I think that you have an appeal that you're not aware of. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you don't really know where your secret sauce is. I
was fat, cross-eyed, braces, ugly. Everyone in my high school made fun of me. I didn't get hot until like 22, 23. So I kind of have all that bad self-esteem deep in there, you know?
Okay, so, but then what we need, you have to fix that stuff. Like, you can't just you just can't leave the bullet in. You got to get the bullet out. You got to clean the wound, and you gotta move forward. Now, let me say this. I don't know, have you been listening to my lives, or is this the first time you're coming in contact with me since Patrice and the Black
Phillip? I've listened to all of Black Phillips. Mostly the last 3 with Jeffrey, because that's where the magic happened. I've listened to every Blaze Phillip from 1 to 600, whatever. I'm back on the first few now, just to go through and,
all right, so you do know that there's a lot of things that I've denounced. One of the things that I've denounced was Jeffrey. I mean, Jeffrey ended up being a real fucking liar and a piece of shit.
No care.
Yeah, so
I didn't listen through all of them through to through.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. But let me explain to you where we're at right now. You need to be more intentful, right? You have so first thing you're saying to me, there's a few things that are in place that are taking me for a loop. First thing you said to me about your car, right? Second thing you said to me was that you were kind of fat and cross-eyed and whatever, and unattractive and stuff like that. And so to me, all of those things denote a self-esteem issue, right? And so even if you were getting laid or whatever, the bullet's still in the bullet hole. Those you still got infection. We need to clear that out, because real game is no game. Meaning, you got to be who you are. So if you're fronting or you're faking about how you feel as though you bring value to any relationship, that's a house of cards that's gonna fall, because deep down at your core, you don't even believe you're worthy. So even when you're getting laid, what you even when you're getting laid, what's happening is you're getting laid, but you don't even really believe that you can pull it off again. So you feel good about it, but it's sort of like, it's sort of like how they say how crack is. You get that high, and then you keep trying to get that high because you don't really believe that you deserve what you're getting, and then you move to a place.
And I'm glad you said that, because I
Uh-huh.
do want to mention this. I've hooked up with over 100 girls, but over 90, not over, maybe 80% of that was dating apps. So
Right.
that was the whole
But dating
part of
apps.
the reason I
Okay.
moved to a big city.
So
No, but hold on. So sorry, let me just say this one thing. The part of the reason I moved to this big city is now I'll actually go out in street on the bars, and I'll actually talk to people in real life, and that's a huge transition for me. So that has helped my confidence, but for sure, it's a work in progress right now.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't know if I do one-on-one consultations, and this is way.
I was gonna book one actually, because I have your Patreon now, so I was thinking about booking one. Yeah.
This is way deeper than we think. There's a lot of things that are going on, and I also think that even in the context of all of that, we are. But let me just give you since everybody's listening, and there's a lot of guys that are in the same position that you're in. So let me explain something to you. You have, first of all, as I'm talking to you, right? You're a personable dude. You are already kind of exhibiting that there's a certain level of confidence, and you're saying you're goofy and you're kind of funny and stuff like that. So what I'm saying is that in itself is something to be proud of. You understand? This is innately part of your personality that is intricate and very special to you. And the fact that you've been able to knock down over 100 girls with that, you see, what you have to understand is, and I understand that you have this low self-esteem because of what you were, but you have to get to the point where you understand that you are not who you were, right? And the simple fact that you've been able to knock down close to 100 girls, right? Nobody gives you anything for free. If women are in love with you, they're in love with you because you're lovable. If women are interested in you, it's because you're interesting. There's no other way to get that. Nobody gives you anything for free. Does that make sense?
Yep. No, 100%.
And so I think you're just not really recognizing. First, what we need to do is you need to book a consultation with me.
I already got that written down on my calendar. I'll be booking it for this week.
Okay, and so there's one part of it there is that, but we need to get to the point where you understand that what your perception of what's going on is just not reality. There's no way that you can knock down 100 girls, right? And not have something special about you. Does that make sense?
Well, no, exactly. And I was used to dating uglier girls, but I've been dating my ex looks like Margot Robbie. I've been dating actual hot girls.
But I'm telling you, it doesn't. What people think, and there's a whole thing that I talk about, laying the 5 bricks and stuff like that. There's a whole plan that I put guys through, but dating the ugly girls is no different than dating the hot girls. In fact, I would even go as far as saying is hot girls are easier because of the fact that hot girls are super insecure because of the fact that usually everything they get is based on their looks, right? And so the minute you're not impressed by their looks, they don't know where to go from there. If that makes sense.
And I always challenge them on that. I always challenge them on, okay, you look hot, but what else is going on? So I feel that. Yeah.
And so what I'm saying, this perception of people who haven't had experience, or even that people that haven't had experience, if you haven't really laid out all the data and said, well, what is really going on here? It's hard to know what your secret power is, what your X-Men power is, what you do well and what you don't do well, and what you need to fix. So you know what I'm saying? So I just think that there's no easy answer, but at its core, I think when we are being the best version of ourselves, right? We move with a different confidence because we're not waiting to be discovered. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So
every time I'm busy in life, like too busy to date, that's when everyone's knocking on my door.
well, I mean, so there's a lot there, but we need to dig up that other stuff that's underneath there, that other stuff that gives you that doubt and question. And I'm not saying that we all have it at a point. There's always moments but when you are currently working on yourself on a day-to-day basis, when you're putting out a product that you know is a good product, absolutely there's going to be a difference in perspective in how you approach and how you walk. And it literally it comes into the way that you talk, the way that you walk, the tone of your voice, the cadence of your voice. It's real crazy. I was counseling a dude, and he was good looking dude. Dude was like 6'3", and he was bouncing around. You know what I mean? Like, he was in the bar, and I just happened to be in the bar, and I'm just sitting on the side observing, and he's talking to this girl, like it was a comic friend of mine, killed on stage. The girl was clearly enamored, but he goes over to talk to her, and he's leaning over and he's bouncing around. You could see in his body language that he was unsure. And I called him. I said, yo, come here. I said, listen, place your 2 feet shoulder length apart, stand up straight, and project your voice. Stop bouncing around like a squirrel. Nobody thinks that. Women think squirrels are cute. They don't think that they don't feel safe around squirrels. Do you understand what I'm saying? So even the body language, the movement translates a certain level of confidence. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
And even when you say to me that, like there's a smaller, it's all the same shit. I mean, I know that we all think that it's all different. The hot girls, the big girls, the small town, the big, you know what I'm saying? But we're talking about, even when I've heard people say, oh, I live in a really small town, it's only less than 1 million people. I'm like, yeah, you only need one, right? You're just trying to get one tonight. You don't need 1 million, So
yeah, that's fair. Fair.
Hit me up as soon as you can. All right?
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna book it right away.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for everything all over the years.
All right, cool. I think I'm gonna have to reset these phones again, Jesus, because it's not. I'm not seeing it. Sorry, my peoples. Yeah, I gotta reset the phones again. I don't know why we're getting so much difficulty with this nonsense. It gets on my nerves. But yeah, I want you to understand something that is. If anybody understands what a poker tell is, right? The poker tell is that thing where no matter what happens, people, a great poker player will be able to read, they'll be able to read somebody's, how they're moving, because of the fact that they're, because they can't, because it's obvious that they see it, Jesus, why does this keep going off? This is weird. And I took the phones down. This is weird. Hold on. Something's going on. Man. Hold on. Let me see. See if this is coming up. I'm sorry, we're having a little technical difficulty. I don't even know where this is ringing from. This is crazy. Hold on. Let me see. It's not showing. God damn it. Oh, boy. Let me get this all off. Oh, boy. I'm sorry, y'all. We'll get it together. We will get it together. Man, I can't. I don't know why it's not ringing. I don't know what the heck is ringing. Let me see. What? I don't know what the heck is going on with this. Anyway. Oh, man. Let me see what we're doing here. Yeah, I mean, it's so I was just talking about this whole idea of, the dating game has changed, and it really has not. In a real way, I really feel like it has not. it's a situation where it's the same. There's just more steps, if that makes sense. I don't know why this keeps ringing. Hold on, let me see. Oh boy, this is crazy. Sorry about that, guys. We back. Everybody's still in the queue. Give me a thumbs up if y'all still in the queue. I'm sorry, I had to restart everything. Tell me if y'all give me a thumbs up if y'all can hear me. Give me a thumbs up in the queue. Somebody give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, my people. All right, cool. All right, phone lines over. Let me just check the phone lines real quick. I'm sorry, bro. Y'all, I appreciate it. Y'all being patient with me. Let me see. Dante. Let's see. All right, let's see if it comes up. Come on now. Oh, shit. Here we go. It's not coming up. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me try 702. Sorry about this, y'all. Come on. Gotta reset it again. Sorry, guys. Bam. Shut it down. This is not a good day. New tab, new folder, new window. All right, let me see if we can get this up one more time. I'm sorry, fellas. New window. Okay. Let's get this going. Let's get the phones up. Let's try to see one more time. Yes, it's me. I know it's me. Okay. I think we're back up. So let me see if I can call that brother to call me 7 times. He's got some shit going on we need to deal with. I feel like this is going to be a good call because we need to talk to him immediately. What's up, Hunter? Okay. Let's see. There we go. It's coming up. Let's see. I don't know. Here we go. What's going on? It's Dante. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
What's going on, Dante? I'm Caesar. I'm calling from Vegas. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on? I can hear you fine now. We had a little technical difficulty, but we're good now. Uh-oh, what's ringing now?
Some bullshit. You good, bro?
Hold on. Give me 1 sec.
Call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Okay.
702.
All right, we're going to cut that one off. Caesar, can you hear me? Caesar, can you hear me?
Of course. Dante, I want to give you your flowers, man. I've been listening to you since Black Phillip and then Beige Phillip and now Man School 202. You're killing it, bro.
I appreciate you. What can I do for you, bro?
Well, my problem is this, man. Like, my problem is this. Like, I've seen the dating game change a lot. I'm trying to be this man who can give women direction, but women are not listening to me, man. And I'm having a problem with that.
Well, I mean, you gotta understand something. Like, okay, so here's the thing. You ever ride an Uber?
Of course.
Okay, so you get in an Uber, right? You ever ride an Uber where somebody couldn't drive? Or you weren't you weren't confident with their driving because maybe they're a little shaky getting out or getting out in the traffic?
Of course, yeah.
But when you see somebody and they know what they're doing, you sit back in the Uber and you relax because you know that the direction that they're giving is sound and it's clear and they're not hesitating, right?
Right.
So you have to understand is that one of the things that we talk about all the time, we talk about on the show all the time, is authenticity, credibility, and empathy, right? Authenticity means telling the truth, right? So we got to be honest. Right. But that doesn't just mean being honest with other people, but it also means us being honest with ourselves, if that makes sense, right?
Of course.
If you're talking and people are not listening, right? You have to kind of wonder whether or not what you're saying is clear and concise enough so that somebody wants to listen to it. Does that make sense?
Of course, but my problem is, what if you know you're being concise? What if you know you're being like real? What if you know you're being authentic, and the people who are taking your advice are just like they're not having it? What do we do then?
Well, I mean, you can't make anybody do what you want them to do. I mean, just because. So here's another good principle, right? How should I put this? Like, you can't make somebody do what you want them to do. But one of the principles we talk about all the time is that you never let anybody define you, right? What I mean by that is, even when a girl is like, and I've seen this a lot of times where a girl would be in a dude's ear, oh, you the greatest, you the greatest. You can't even, I mean, I'm not saying you can't listen to that and you can say thank you, but if you're the core of what you're doing, right, is that the fact that you're getting validation from somebody else, right,
Right.
clearly makes you susceptible for what happens when she doesn't like what you're doing, right? So you're dope when she says so, but you're also you ain't shit if she says you're not shit, because you're
Right.
the way that you're receiving the comfort or the confidence comes from somebody else. So we got to spin that around so that your confidence comes from the work that you do, right?
Right. Right.
Are you into any sports? You watch boxing, you watch MMA, anything like that?
Absolutely. I watch boxing. I watch MMA.
Okay, so boxing is an, you know, I mean, I fuck with both, so I don't want to make it act like I don't fuck with both. But here's the thing: when you see a guy and he gets in the ring and he's confident, why is he confident? He's confident because he's done his rounds, because he's done his road work, because he's eaten right, because he's made weight way before he's got there, so that he's not trying to make weight. And then he walks in with a confidence because the camp that he went to before the fight was productive and he's accomplished the things. And so he's walking in there with the confidence that comes from what? The confidence comes from the hard work that you've done.
Right.
So if you're, and I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Because we're on the phone talking for the first time.
Right.
But the fact that people are not receiving you, right, is there's two things that could happen. You could be dealing with somebody who just doesn't have the intellectual acumen or the brains to receive the message that you get, which you can't change that. Like you can't,
Right.
you know, if the analogy I use is, I used to say this all the time. You know, I mean, if a crackhead comes to your house, right, with a Fabergé egg, right, and you go, he goes, how you go? Look, I stole this for some. You want this? And you ask him how much you want for it, and he says $100, right? And you give him $100, right? You get the egg. Now if anybody knows what a Fabergé egg is worth millions of dollars, right? But because the crackhead doesn't understand the value of what a Fabergé egg, doesn't have the intellectual acumen to understand what the value is, right? He's not gonna know, or she's not gonna know what it's worth. So now you got to
Dante, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dante, but are you saying should I dumb down myself
no,
they can understand me?
No, what I'm saying is that there's a few things that could be happening. Either the message is not clear, right?
Okay.
And you're not speaking from confidence, or the people that you're dealing with are not up to, they're not in that realm. You can't make somebody be what you want them to be. And I've gotten a lot of flack about this on the internet and stuff like that, because what's interesting is, like, just when you're in the pimp game, right? Women would sell their body because they want to sell their body. Now, I'm not talking about, you know, white slavery and human trafficking.
No, I know what you're talking about. No, for sure. I know what you're talking about.
And I'm going to tell you the proof of that is, all you have to do is look at OnlyFans. Like, the whole pimp game is done because women they can do it from home in their bedroom on the internet, right?
It's easy for them.
Right, but the point is, they are still choosing to sell their body in some way.
Oh, okay.
So,
I see what you're saying.
So what I'm saying, it's not just, I'm not saying that it can't be an exploitive situation. What I'm saying is, a lot of women who just say, okay, this is what I got. People want to pay to see me stick stuff up in me or whatever, right? And
right.
And they're choosing to do that, right? So we have to understand it, but nobody does that. Very rarely, unless they're being forced. Most people will do what they want to do when they want to do it. So if you're in a situation, you got to find people who want to take direction.
I see what you're saying.
And I'm going to tell you this. And here's the thing: every woman is different with every guy.
That's facts.
So there's some girls who will eat the groceries and some girls that won't. And there's
Right,
some
right.
girls that will eat this dude's groceries and another and won't eat another dude's groceries. There's some girls
Right.
that will cook and clean for one dude and won't cook and clean for. There's some girls that won't cook and clean.
And do you think, Dante, do you think that has to do with like genetics? Do you think that has to do with like how we look, or do you think that has to do with like how we act?
I think it's a cultural thing. I think it's a cultural thing. It's so when you're a little when a woman is a little girl and she grows up and she's looking at her mama, and her picture this, her mother is the epitome of what womanhood is, right?
Right,
And
right.
so if she's watching her mother take care of her father, or she's watching her mother be submissive or something, it's a learned behavior. Because
Right. You right.
think about, you're a 2 or 3 year little girl and you're watching your mother, and your mother comes and fixes your husband's plate, and he goes, "Look, can I get another? I'm thirsty," and she runs and gets some. "Oh, you want ice with that?" And if a woman sees that, right,
Right.
it just becomes part of the culture. It's just like this is why you get a lot of passport bros that go to Colombia and go to Dominican Republic, because
Right. They go to fucking Philippines and shit.
right, part of the culture of the Dominican culture, Spanish culture, is to take care of their man at a base level. It ain't even about, well, is he worth taking care of it? I know.
Oh, I see.
I dated a Mexican girl, right? And what happened was she had to fix her brother's plate because her mother was like, "Oh, he's a man. This is what you're supposed to do." So you know what I'm saying? This acumen is taught. It's a learned behavior. But if you
Right.
if you dating some woman and she's going, she's boisterous and loud and has masculine energy, and her dad is
Oh,
soft,
but yeah,
and
dude.
he's under fire. Like, where is she
Right,
gonna?
right.
How is she gonna learn to take care of her man? You know. Now, don't get me wrong.
That's true.
I think, depending on the guy, a woman will do. Well, like I say, every woman acts a little different with every woman, you know, like
With every man, right. It's so you're saying like it depends on me. Like I have to bring up like I have to pretty much say like, hey, this is what I want from my relationship, and you
Right.
got to do with
right. And if somebody's not willing to do that, then you got to move on, you know.
okay.
But you got to
Okay.
you have to first present the best version of yourself. Does that make sense?
And how do we do that? How do we do
So
that,
the
Dante?
reason, well, here's the thing. And so again, I do these one-on-one consultations, but a lot of it, if you listen to that or you sign up with the Patreon, a lot of stuff I teach. But one of the things we start with is laying the 5 bricks. We start out by laying the 5 bricks. Laying the 5 bricks is with just a simple task. This is the first phase of everything that I teach. It's the foundation of everything that I teach. It's the foundation of a culmination of Black Phillip, Beige Phillip, and I found that this is the most effective way. You go out and you take and you compliment 5 women a day, right? The compliment has to be non-sexual, it has to be honest, and it's not just the women that you want to have sex with.
It's all women. Like
All women.
It don't matter who it is. It's all women.
Right, because what that does ultimately is it gets you more social. You get a
Okay.
See now here's so I got to find a better way to explain this, but there's a what kind of business are you in? What do you do as for a job?
I clean so I work at a casino. I'm in Vegas. I work at a casino and I clean carpets. So I'm around women all the time.
Here's the thing. So let's say, for instance, you and I, just even now, right? Let's say you're not in Vegas or whatever, but you just said to me, "Yo, yeah, I clean carpets and stuff, and I have my own business cleaning carpets or whatever." Now, let's say, for instance, if I have a house and I need my carpets cleaned, I go, "Oh, word, do you do?" Like, we're casually talking. I go, "Oh, you clean?
Okay.
What do you do? Do you do private homes?" And you go, "Yeah, I could do that. I could set that up." I go, "Man, I had a guy that used to come in and clean the carpets, but he doesn't clean them anymore. Maybe we could work something out." Now, understand that business transaction is really not transactional. It's because you didn't call me and solicit me to
Right.
I'm asking you. I just like, oh wow, this is a good guy. Maybe I can give him some business. Maybe I'm having problems with my regular carpet cleaner, so let me get this dude. Do you understand how that the nature of that is different than if you call me up and you solicit me with your business? Hey, my name is so and so and so. I clean carpets. I'd love to come in and maybe clean something for you so that you can see where I'm coming from or whatever. Do you understand the difference in that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so my point is this. When you're laying the 5 bricks, I'm making that point to make this. When you're laying the 5 bricks and you're paying a woman a compliment, so you're being social, right, with this person in a way that you're not even allowed to get the number on the first phase. Like, even if
Okay.
you're just, all I want you to do is go out and play 5 compliments a day, every day, to an array of different women. You have to do it every day, right? And you're not allowed to get the number. Now, the thing about not getting the number, what makes it important is it makes the compliment non-transactional, because you know already that you're not supposed to get the number anyway, right? So there's
Right.
there's nothing at stake, or at least there's as little at stake as possible. You understand?
I see
Because
what you're saying. Yeah.
you're not looking for something in return. You're just paying the compliment and move on. I'm not even asking you to get a response back. If they respond and say thank you, that's fine. If they don't, you did your part. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
And what that does is it teaches you how to communicate non-transactionally. Then we go through each phase. It's kind of my version of wax on, wax off for getting ass. Because what happens is you get comfortable talking, right? You don't
Right.
you start, there's so many things that you recognize from that. And one of the things is that it's non-transactional, and because it's non-transactional, it's the same way that if when I asked you what do you do and you said you clean carpets, and now we might have a business transaction. It's the same thing. If you are soliciting me, then my guard goes up. And once my guard
Right.
goes, it makes more difficult for you to sell the product. Make sense?
Right.
Whereas
Yeah. So what you're saying, so what you're essentially saying is like, don't go up to a girl and be like, hey, you fine as fuck. Like, go up to a girl and be like, hey, I like your shoes. Your shoes are fat. Like, I like your shoes. I like your outfit. Whatever.
It just should be, but it'd be one. You start out with just the compliment and you keep moving, and then the phase comes on. Look on the thing. Look, you see, are you watching it live or are you just listening?
No, I'm watching it live.
All right, you see on the thing it says one-on-one consultations, DanteNero.com. Book a session with that, and then I'll explain it to you. I'll put you on the plan, and we'll get you where you need to be. Make sense?
Hell yeah, I appreciate that. Hell yeah, I appreciate that, Dante. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you taking my call, and I've been listening to you for a while, Dante. I appreciate you, man.
All right, brother. Let me go. I got a bunch of calls coming in. All right.
All right, Dante. I appreciate you. You have a great day.
Later,
See you
brother.
later.
Later, brother.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, sometimes I think when I'm explaining this, it makes sense, especially if you do a one-on-one consultation, DanteNero.com, click on consult. Don't forget the Cash App and the PayPal. Please, if y'all like what I'm doing, please help us out. We need to get more equipment and some stuff like that. I'm trying to do that. So y'all doing me help, donating and stuff helps me do more shit. We got another call. Let's go. I'm finally feeling like I'm in a rhythm. This was a funky live today because we had all kinds of technical difficulty and stuff. Yo, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Yo, it's Francisco from Cali.
What up, Francisco? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good.
How can I help you, bro?
I've got like this weird issue. I'm kind of like, I'm with this girl who I met like a long time ago, back when we were back in high school. We're both 17.
Okay.
And like we met for a couple.
How old are you now?
Retreat.
How old are you now?
I'm 23.
Okay, cool.
So it's been that long since we've seen each other. And I met her about a month ago. And now we were kind of dating. I fucked. We've been fucking, and now we're just talking all the time. We don't really go out on dates, but we kind of play what I call play house.
Okay.
Which is kind of like I'm at her place, she's at my place, and all we do is spend time with one another and cook. But I went a little crazy one night. We were drinking hella, and I kind of was like, I don't know what compelled me to go through her phone, but I was looking at a bunch of foods and whatever, you know. I was just like, all right, like what the fuck is up with this, you know? And then she's like, you shouldn't have been going through my phone. She left for a bit. I don't know what she got mad about.
Well, she got mad at you because you went through her phone.
Yeah, I know.
But
know,
I
so
mean, you
it's just
can't
like
say
2
you
days for
can't
her to
say
come back.
hold on. You can't say I don't know what she got upset about when you went through her phone. I mean, it's not like
I know exactly why she got upset.
You didn't grab her phone while she was holding it. Oh, let me see that. I want to go through your phone. You didn't do that, right?
Nah,
So
absolutely
again,
not.
this is what I'm talking about when we talk about being honest.
Right.
Big shout out to Shaheed Campbell. Thank you for the $20, bro. I appreciate you. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the help, little financial help. I appreciate you. But let me say this. So you create a situation. You're creating things are good. You start digging. You should never dig in nobody's phone, right? Let me ask you this. Are you talking to anybody else?
You know, I was talking to a couple people like during, but then I was like, you know what? Like after a week of dating her, like food, and she came over to my house and was like, oh, you got an empty fridge, and spent like almost $200 and just filled that shit up with food. But then the next day was like the next morning was like, I don't want like to be in a relationship. When
did you tell her that?
Kind of what?
Did you tell her that?
That's what she told me. I kind of did want to be in a relationship because I had been single for a little bit. So I was like, you know, I think this is cool, right? I wasn't like, oh, I'm ready, but this kind of happened.
Okay,
she bought me a guitar.
Okay,
she did a lot of stuff.
Stop. Okay, she sounds like a dope chick, but if she doesn't want to be in a relationship, like, why are you trying to force this?
It's my own I would say my ego, my insecurity.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Right. But here, let me ask you this. What is ever attractive about your own insecurity and your own ego? When is a woman ever said, man, you know, I wish this guy had more ego and more insecurity?
They almost don't say that. They like the rudeness.
They never say that. Not only that, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest problem. Anytime, as soon as somebody feels as though they're in a situation where you're with somebody who is not confident enough, it's the biggest turnoff in the world. And the fact that you went through her phone, first of all, you got no right going through her phone when she's clearly said she doesn't want to be in a relationship. So what she's saying,
something in my stomach was like, man, why?
Right. And so are y'all still kicking it or no?
You know, she came back after a few days, and I told her, like, you kind of made it seem like you wanted to, no,
stop.
I didn't.
Let me tell you something.
I told you I didn't want to be in a relationship.
Exactly. What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter the fact that she could like you. Look, let's be honest. If you hook up with a chick and you sleeping with her, right? You don't fuck her any different whether you love her or you don't love her, right? I
think that I'm starting to love her a little bit, and my sex ain't the same. Like when I hated her, let's just fuck the shit out of her.
Yeah, but
now I'm kind of like,
dog, this is your feelings are your feelings. She has made it clear that she doesn't want a relationship. First of all, I would say this, without a doubt, anytime you're in a situation where a woman you're dating a woman, you're sleeping with her, trust me, if she wants a relationship, she's gonna let you know. I've never been in a situation where a woman was with me or hanging out with me or hooking up with me or whatever, and she wanted more that a woman doesn't say, I want more. Am I right?
Yeah, she was constantly telling me, they never do this for me.
Why didn't
you treat me in a certain way?
But why did you listen until she says verbally, hey, I'm what are we doing here? I want a relationship.
Yeah.
You ain't got a relationship.
You know what, Dante? I didn't get to that part yet. That was about 3 weeks ago, and she came back and I was like, well, this is kind of what I want. I'm in a good job right now. I have a couple years until I go out
Wait,
into
when
my
you
next
say
part, which is going on
kind of
tour.
what you want, what do you mean? You want a relationship? You told her you want a
I
relationship?
said, I told her I wanted a relationship.
Yeah, dog.
And I kind of pressed up on her and I said, well, I really like you being here and all, but, I don't know if you want to leave, but you either got to go or you kind of got to stay. But
yeah, that's crazy, dog. That's crazy. I mean, listen, you know who has to go? You got to go. Like if you can't deal with this, if you can't stay in the lane that she wants you in, if you're going to push this, the only thing you're going to do is run her away. The fact that you went through her phone is already going to run her away. And if she's still back, if she's
kind of
still,
feel that.
and if you just keep doing what you should be doing, but you know what? You should be out there dating and doing your thing. Because if somebody says to you, I don't want a relationship, you got to believe them. Like what?
Yeah, that's true.
And for you to do that, it just shows insecurity and it makes you super unattractive. Do you understand?
I have a sense that I kind of came back from that. We still go out, and she doesn't just stay over. She stays over for days, like her days off, and she
Well,
has
then
some
shut your
vacation
mouth
time.
and enjoy it. You got to understand something. When a woman, if a woman likes you and likes being around you, she's gonna continue to like being around you. If you force her
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many dudes that I've counseled that said to me, "Yo, I don't want a relationship. I just want to, or even better, I have a girl, right, that I really like, right, but I still want to sleep with other chicks, right." And
I still feel that, yeah.
and I would say to them, okay, well, you just have to find somebody who, and I have counseled them to the point where they had that situation where they had their girl, and then the girl, and they wanted to, they still had the permission, like I shouldn't say permission, but they basically set down the boundaries that they could still sleep with other women. And most of the guys, I would say 85% of the guys end up not sleeping with other girls. Because it's more
you need a writer.
it's the idea of the fact that I can more than I really want to.
Yeah, in my mind, I kind of thought that, like, why am I saying anything when this girl comes over, she cooks for me, she starts cleaning, she bought me a whole guitar just for me to play for her.
Here's
still
what's crazy. If you're
fast.
looking at the comments, I'm gonna say this to put this to the comments. This is the people in the comments are gonna be like, yo, you're crazy. You got a chick that's coming, and just so many times that guys are in situations where they are where
They're
they
like, I
can't
can't get rid of her.
yeah, or they can't get a girl to fucking pay for a date, or she won't buy them a hot dog. You know what I mean? I've counseled dudes who are married. I had a dude who had married and built a house for his wife, and she won't blow him. You know what I mean? He'll be 100-degree weather, laying underneath under her SUV, changing the oil, and she won't even get him a cold beer. And here you got a girl that's doing everything for you, and you ready to fuck it up because you have insecurity and your ego is tripping because you worrying about what she's doing. And the bottom line is here's what you need to understand. You cannot make her do what you want to do, because even if you make her do, eventually she's going to bounce. When it gets uncomfortable, all you're going to do is chase her away. What you have to do is you have to be confident enough in yourself that you can receive what she has to give and just stay in your lane. But you got to understand that if you're in a situation where she can date other guys and she's hollering at other guys, but if here's what's happening. If she's coming over to your house and staying over your house, right, for days at end, right?
Yeah.
And she's not
running. You know what? My truck got fucked up on my way to her house, and even that same day, like, I was stuck on the freeway. She came over and brought me water and all that. My truck's fucked up, right? So she stays over, and then she's like, "Here's my keys. Go to work. I'll be here." And I take her car.
Doug,
I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me.
What city you in?
I'm in LA.
All right, so I'm
like
gonna come
North,
there. I'm
like
gonna come
North
there
Hollywood.
I'm gonna come there and smack you upside the head. Stop screwing up. Stop effing
I
up.
know everything.
Doug, there's guys in the comments would love to have what you have, and you're screwing it up.
Yeah,
and ultimately, let me say this.
She knows about my ex, and she knows I was with the bitch for like almost 7 years. So she asked me all kinds of questions like, "Oh, have you ever cheated? Have you ever done this?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I did."
And she's still rocking with.
Look,
Look at the you. Are you watching
still
this?
Rocking with me.
You see what Logan Scott said? This guy struck gold and doesn't even know it.
Oh my god! And I'm in a good job right now. Like I work in audio, like audio mixing, and I've got 3 or 4 years until I go out on tour. And
here's my thing,
dude.
dude.
Path and I'm good.
Stop screwing your life up, dude. You're 23. If you need there's something else going on here, and I say this. There's something else under this that makes you feel insecure. That you gotta black snake moan this chick and chain her to the radiator because of the fact that you don't think that you deserve what she's giving you, and this is why you're trying to lock it in. Sign up for a consultation, bro, so we can fix this, so that you're not going to continue to sabotage this thing before you screw this thing up that you already got that's working great for you.
Yeah,
okay?
You're right, man. Yeah, I will.
Look on the screen.
Look on the screen. It's self-sabotage thing. Man.
Yes, go DanteNero.com. Click on consult, man. Also, I'm real quick. Let me put this up. I'm gonna put the Patreon. The Patreon is sign up for the Patreon is www.patreon.com. All of this stuff /manschool202. We do bonus technique and content that you get weekly, along with we put out a regular show and then we put a half-hour show just for the listeners.
You know what she did? Also, now that I can mention, this happened a couple nights ago. Like we got drunk and
wait a minute, you getting ready to tell me something else that she did great? Is that what you...
I mean, I know she knew what I wanted. Yeah, I'm about to tell you something else. She was like, "Do you want me to be like your girlfriend?" And then I was like, "Well, yeah, But it's like, I'm chilling. And then I was like, "Well, do you want me to be your boyfriend?" Because, I'm not trying to ride on you no more. I don't know if you've seen, I've been just doing my thing. And then she was like, "Yeah, I would." And then that was that for a second. I was still confused. And I said, I leaned back and I was like, "Who am I looking at right now?" She's like, "Your girlfriend." And I said, "Oh my God."
Well, I mean, listen, stop screwing up your life. Okay? But you need to talk to me because we need to figure out why you're screwing up your life. Because why you're screwing up your life has nothing to do with her specifically. It has to do with you, what's going on in your head. And that needs to be fixed. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, brother. Thank you for calling.
Thanks, Dante. See you, Beige Phillip.
Later.
Get out of here, man.
Peace. Yo, that's crazy. It's so crazy when you're in a situation where guys have a good situation and they don't even know what their good situation. This is a crazy story. Years ago, I was about, I don't know, I was probably 23, 24 years old, like ancient. And I had this older woman who met me and she was like, "Yo," she says, "I really like you. Let me get your number." And I went to get her number. I'll tell this story after this call. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Kay calling from Jersey.
Hey, Kay, how you doing?
All right, and you?
How can I help you?
I just got a question. I want to get your thoughts.
Sure.
What are some things that a woman can do to fix a dead bedroom?
What can a woman do to fix a dead bedroom?
Right. What are some things? What are some tips?
That's a piece of cake. Let me ask you this though: did y'all have a great sex life at one time?
Yeah, for like a good year.
For a year, and then what happened? It got It just got stale?
It definitely, yes, it got stale.
Okay, and you still love him and you just want it to be better.
Well, to be transparent with you, this was in a previous relationship where I had a dead bedroom. It's just going and dating. I don't want that to be a repeat. So I'm just
Okay,
trying to
so let
prevent
me
that.
ask you that, Kay. Did you what made the bedroom what made the sex great in the first place? If you could explain what made it great.
I mean, to be honest, it wasn't anything special. I feel like I'm pretty vanilla. It was just, I mean, I can say that he definitely initiated. That's what made it special
Okay,
or
let me
great.
ask you this: Did you ever initiate? That's
No, I
a
did
no,
not.
and that's
I did.
fine, Jay. That's fine. Your name is again? Say Kay. Kay.
K.
Okay, so here's my thing, Kay. You and this is an interesting thing because I would be the advice I would be giving a guy is the same advice that I would be giving a girl. If you want something to be better, then you got to put in the effort to make it so. So here's what's the situation. You're sitting back and you're going, well, the sex, I'm pretty vanilla, but the sex is great, and then all of a sudden it got stale. But it got stale because if you got the guy and he's always the one that is that's initiating it, right? It gives you a feeling, it gives him a feeling of the fact that you're just doing it for his benefit.
Okay.
So let's say you like it when let me give you let's go through a scenario. Let's say you like when you let's say you're cooking dinner, right? Or something, and he comes home and you're at the stove and he's comes up behind you, presses against you, and pulls your pants down and starts eating you out while you're eating you. And you're like, wait a minute, stop, I'm trying to cook. And then he just eats you out in the kitchen or something. Is that exciting to you?
Yeah, I would say so, definitely.
Okay, so let me ask you this: if he came home from work and you pulled his pants down and you started blowing him in the doorway, right? That would be exciting for him too.
Okay.
Right. So what I'm saying is this: in a lot of cases, if we're in a relationship and both of us are making an initiative, let's think about what I call the subtext. The subtext is that if you're cooking dinner and he runs up behind you and he starts eating you from behind or whatever, right? What is it communicating to you? It's communicating to you that he is so hot for you, that you're hot for him. You're just so hot to him that he can't even contain himself, that he wants it now. And that feels good to you, right? Because you feel wanted, right?
Right.
All you really got to do is make him feel the same way. We want to feel wanted too. We want to feel where somebody's insatiable, where somebody's insatiable to trying to get you and it's about you and just wants to ravage you too. So I mean, if you have a relationship, you can't spend a year just sitting back and not putting your energy in. Not only that, but guys are super simple, Kate. If you're just grabbing his dick, you know what I'm saying? If he's in the car and you're driving somewhere and you're grabbing his dick, you're the best girlfriend in the world. I'm gonna put this to the comments, and if you look at the comments, imagine, I'm just saying to the comments, if you got a girlfriend and she's grabbing your dick and trying to suck your dick and she's trying to put it excites us. It makes us more aggressive. We are accustomed to as men, we're accustomed to having to initiate sex and so on. And so what you have to give back is minimal amount to get us to react in that way. So if that's really what you want, it's such an easy solution. All you have to do is just initiate things. And you don't have to be, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if you know, like a little lingerie, little thigh highs, little heels, little thigh high boots, whatever, grabbing his dick in public, grabbing his ass, just trying to suck his dick in the car. I mean, it's not a lot. You don't have to do it particular lot. And if you look at the callers, right, they will all say, yo, most guys don't get that. They don't get that anyway. So, and everybody's shouting you out, Kay. They're shouting out Kay for being, because I don't get a lot of female callers. So they're shouting you out, females listening to the show, the truth. Shout out to Kay. But what do you say? You played yourself. He's in the comments. He's saying, we want to be wanted too. We want to feel attractive too.
Sure.
We want to feel, and that's really all you have to do. We're so simple. Okay, you know what I mean? It's not like it's hard. It's not a difficult thing to do. You know, all you gotta do is make a little bit of effort, and you know, I mean, you just heard the guy who, I don't know if you were listening before, but this guy's bragging because his car broke down and his girl came and brought him water.
Okay.
You could do that, right?
I absolutely can.
You know, I mean, and if you, you know, he said that the girl bought, he didn't have no groceries in his house because he's 23 and he's young and you know what I'm saying? He's frivolous. So she bought groceries. And he's on this platform talking about how great this girl is and how he wants her to be his girlfriend. He's so nuts that he's going through this girl's phone because she did really the bare minimum of reciprocation of what guys do all the time. How many times have you gone out and paid for a date? Okay.
Paid for a date?
Yeah,
Probably like once or twice.
Right, once or twice. And so if we count it, how old? I'm sorry if this is too. How old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay, so in 24, you've been on countless dates, yes?
Yes, I have.
And you've paid for one or two, right?
Right.
There's nothing sexier ever than I'm taking somebody out on a date, right? And they said, oh, I'm going to the bathroom, went and paid the bill, and then they'd be like, you ready to go? And I would be like, hey, I gotta pay the let me pay the bill, just chill out. She goes, I took care of that already. And then I went, what do you mean you took care of it? Oh, I took care of the bill already. Do you know how much leeway that gives you in the grand scheme of things?
Now that's smooth. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, I've had girls say to me, oh, can I see you? Can I see you afterwards? And then be like, I'm like, sure, I'll come by and see you. And then they come down and says, oh, I just thought I was like, hey, what do I owe this call? And it was like, oh, I was just thought it would be come by. I'd be nice if you came by and I could suck your dick in the car. I'm like, this is my lucky day, you know? But I'm just saying,
Right.
we take that so much more personal than you because in the grand scheme of things, we're always initiating it. Because and you have when you initiate it, you run the risk of being rejected, you know?
Right.
And so when you have the same empathy, when you think about it, like you had a situation where it went stale. It went stale because he was putting in and he wasn't getting anything back. You got to give us some kind of gas to keep pushing, you know, because it's our nature to push anyway. We want to make you happy. We want you to say, oh, my boyfriend is the best boyfriend in the world. He's so thoughtful. He's dope. He's just such a cool dude. He's great in bed. He's passionate. He's thoughtful. Like, there's nothing that makes us light up. Why do you think guys go to strip clubs? You know, guys go to strip clubs because the women there, even though they're paying them, they're paying the guy, they're paying the women to make them feel like they're wanted. And even though that they know there's a facade that this is just a whole kind of monetary thing, strip clubs make millions of dollars. That makes sense, Kay?
That makes sense.
Just make a little effort and it'll go way longer than you ever could understand, okay?
Got it. I appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Can I ask you a question? How'd you come across my content?
Oh, I'm a huge fan of Godfrey.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. So I found you by way of him.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Kate. Thanks for calling in.
No problem. Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, that's nice. It's always nice when I get a female caller. Phone lines are open. Let me put up the number. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's one of the things that I'm gonna just, as a reflection of speaking to Kay. One of the principles that we talk about on Man School is that you have to always put your happiness first. The reason why you put your happiness first is because your happiness includes hers. For instance, there's no way, right? There's no way that a man is happy with himself if he's got a wife or girlfriend that's not happy in the relationship. There we attach, like, so if there's a checklist of man's happiness, part of that happiness is that my wife, my woman is happy, my children are fed, there's a roof over the head. We feel like we how should I put this? Our manhood is attached to our ability to provide and to please and to be that kind of rock. And so no man is never in a situation where he doesn't want his woman happy. What will happen is because he feels like in certain situations that he's not appreciated, what he does is not appreciated, or sometimes he'll feel as though he's putting in and not getting anything back. And so then that's what creates the distance and the resentment. And if we get, and this is so simple that if any one of us out there's got a girlfriend or wife or something, we just want to know that we're doing the right thing, that you appreciate what we're doing. Shout out to everybody, man, all the support I got. I mean, I just sold my house, and I'm glad that's over, I'm getting ready to buy something else and move someplace else. But my point is, in the grand scheme of things, we want to know that we are appreciated. We want to know that what we're doing matters, and because we value our manhood based on how we affect people around us. Our manhood is definitely attached to our ability to provide. And so it makes it an easy thing to do. We got a call.
Brandon.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's good, man? Brandon, calling from Tampa.
What up, Brandon? What's going on? How can I help you, bro?
All right, so.
That don't sound good at all, but go ahead.
All right, well, I wanted to call and talk to you because you have a similar situation to me.
Okay.
Right. Recently, I live in Doha, right? I live in Qatar. And I have a 2-year-old son.
Okay.
I'm married.
Okay.
My wife is now recently pregnant. And I work remote. So, technically work in the States, but I'm usually able to travel and work remote, yes and wherever. So
okay, so let me back this up because your phone is a little
I'm
muffled.
kind of muffled.
Yeah.
Oh, my headphones suck.
All right. If you can talk into the phone, that'd be good.
Right.
So you're married, you got a 2-year-old, and your wife is recently pregnant, right?
Yeah. My wife is recently pregnant, got a 2-year-old son.
Right.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, that sounds much clearer.
All right. Yeah, so we live in Qatar, in Doha, and I live also in Tampa officially for work, right?
Okay.
So I recently got a new contract, and I go over, to Qatar, and the laptop doesn't work.
Right.
So now I got to come all the way back to Tampa to work to earn money for the family.
Right.
So, like you, I am far apart from my family,
right?
Especially my son.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's, I came back for about 2 days, right, and then left immediately. And now it's not that he's lashing out, but I could tell that he misses me as much as I miss him.
Right.
And how do you maintain being a father figure and maintain that structure in his life and in the household when you're not present.
Okay, let me ask you something, and this is something that I would have had. How often do you speak to him?
Every day.
How many times do you speak to him?
I speak to him about once or twice. So my wife goes to work. I usually call her when she comes home, and we talk. Usually when they're about to go to bed,
Yeah.
we talk for about an hour.
Right.
And on the weekends, I talk to them when they wake up and when they're about to go to sleep.
Are you FaceTiming with him?
Yes.
Okay. And
but what's happening?
Yeah, go ahead.
What's happening is when we FaceTime, he starts to. At first, he gets really shy. He doesn't want to look at me.
Right.
Right. So he does this thing where he turns his face and he runs, cries, and then I have to kind of like ease into the conversation, and then we get going.
Okay. All right. So here's my thing. I mean, he's only 2. So here's one of the things that I told my wife. I said, anytime he wants to call me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anytime he mentions me and he wants to call me, she would go, you want to talk to daddy? And she will call me. What I don't care if I'm asleep. I mean, because she's in London, so there's a 5-hour difference, right?
Right.
But I don't care if it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't care if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't care what it is. I don't care if I'm working. If I don't care what I'm doing, I will pick up that FaceTime, right?
Right.
And so what I find that my son is super independent, right? But he also will make a phone call whenever, like he'll go. So he's at a place right now where he will go, want to talk to daddy? And then he'll ask her if she wants to talk to daddy, and he'll call me. Sometimes he just gets on the phone and makes me make animal noises. And I'm a 300-pound guy, and I'm making cow noises and rooster noises, but it doesn't matter, right? Because of the fact that I just want him to understand that he can call me whenever he wants. That if he needs me, he can reach me. And even though I'm not physically there, right, that he can get me anytime he wants. And so there becomes this kind of thing in technology. We're lucky because it's technology. I mean, there's sometimes I FaceTime my son 5, 6, 7 times in a day.
Okay.
There's times when he will, call me up and he'll be like, "Daddy, make a cow noise," and sometimes I go on YouTube and I research animal noises. I also do this thing with him where I have about 9 different flashcards, right? There's flashcards, math, spelling, animals, different things like that. And I will go, you want to do flashcards? And he'll do animals, and we spell the animals, and he sounds them out, and he spells them, and so I'm always looking for these ways to interact with him. Sometimes like today, like he loves farm animals, like that's his thing. And so I will get on the phone with him, right? And he'll say, Daddy, I want. What is a heron? A heron is a sort of like a stork bird, and I'll Google the heron and bring up the noise for the heron on the thing, and I'll show him. I'll spin the camera around, and he can watch the YouTube video of the animal. And so the interaction is, you got to understand, it's like and I know this is going to be a weird analogy, but a lot of young dudes get erectile dysfunction, right? Because they watch so much porn. And because porn, because your brain doesn't know the difference between porn and reality. Like it blurs the thing. So that's a horrible thing that somebody watches so much porn that they can't get it up no more. But here's the great part of that. The same thing is true with a kid. And don't get me wrong, not about porn. But what I'm saying is your visibility in his life, this constant visibility, the constant access, his brain will fool itself that you're there more than it is if he has access, because there's plenty of times that he don't want to be bothered. Like my son is to the point where he, like, sometimes I'll call, he'll say, "Hi, Daddy," and then walk away. And I'm looking at, like sometimes I'll watch him eat dinner or breakfast. I'll watch, so I think so. So what I'm saying is, if you make this effort to be there, the more frequently like that you talk to me, even if it's shorter periods of times of talking, like more frequent, right?
Right.
Which
Okay.
is interesting, and which is kind of like, I don't know if you heard me talk about laying the 5 bricks and stuff like
Of
that.
course. Yeah.
Well, the whole point of laying the 5 bricks, or even better, I mean, yes, the laying the 5 bricks, the frequency in which you do this makes it easier to do, right? But if you've ever heard me talk about time travel, is where you take a girl out and you take her to multiple places,
multiple destinations,
but there's multiple venues. But the same thing is true. The same principle works with phone calls.
Okay.
So if you speak to him for an hour,
so what you're saying is in his brain, the frequency will make it make it more. He'd be more susceptible to. He'll be more comfortable. With
and he's also too. So it's gonna change. You know, as he gets older, he's gonna change. I mean, I'm making way more frequent trips out to England as much as possible. I've been going. Usually, if I go out there, I go anywhere from 7 to 10 to 15 days. Right. I think what I'm gonna start doing is going shorter periods and more frequent.
Right. I hear you. See, with me, I won't be able to get back there until probably we probably won't see each other for the next 3 months.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, then you need to FaceTime with him 2, 3, 4 times a day. Just short little. If Daddy on the phone, he runs, get back such and such and such, and then go. Then hit him back, and then tell it, and then have her if he's mentioned you, or I don't know how verbal he is, but if he mentions you, man, have her call you.
Right, and she will do that.
Yeah.
You know, he's not that verbal, but he would say things like, where's Daddy? Especially when I first left.
Yeah.
Where's Daddy? Is Daddy downstairs?
And if he says where's Daddy, she should make a phone call.
Okay.
And even if she doesn't get you, then as soon as you get a break, you call back and you do. Even if it's for a few seconds. I just know that, because when it comes to this relationship, it's not just, yes, it is male-female relationships, but all relationships are the same. And I want him to know that I'm available to him. There's the lion's share of consultations and everybody that calls and says, "Doctor, you changed my life. I was going through a breakup. I was in a bad situation. I called you. It's all better now. I did it, whatever. All of that stuff, the insecurity and everything comes from the fact that we didn't have our fathers available to us the way we should have.
Right. And this is very accurate when it comes to me. Right. In fact, the whole me reconnecting with my father is kind of what led to my son being born. Right. So, but it was like 30 something years.
Yeah.
Right. That connection wasn't there. So I'm kind of, of course I have friends and I look.
Yeah. It's not the same, dog. It's not the same.
It's not the same because they're not overseas. Yeah. Right. We don't have that support system of cousins and uncles and all of that stuff around us is Arabs.
Yeah.
And African people, you know what I'm saying? We gotta manufacture this.
Right. But understand something. Our perception of what manhood is directly related to who our father was, or the masculine figure in our life, and how we perceive that masculine figure. Make sense? So
definitely.
So if our dad is a simp to our mom, then we end up being a suckers for our, you know what I'm saying? It's cyclical. And then you have to realize that but then you have to, as you become an adult, you have to reassess those assessments and see if mimicking that manhood as a whole is what you want to do, or you want to change that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the other thing is, dog, I send him gifts. And when I send him gifts, or send him a toy by Amazon or something, when it comes, she doesn't let him open it. She opens it in front of me, and I just try to make as much of a connection with him as possible. If he says he wants, the last time I went to England, I had 6 stuffed animals that he requested, you know, that he talked about, and I went and bought them, and then I showed up to them, and then when I got to London, right, I didn't even give them all to him once. Every day I gave him another one. Right. And he had no idea. So, I mean, I just think we make the, you know, thank God for technology that we can make that connection. And so he doesn't really, and now sometimes when I call, he don't even want to talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's like he's so busy doing his own thing, you know, it is what it is. And he just, and I mean, and I had to deal with that because I was like, yeah, he don't give a F about me, you know, but you know, that's not true because my whole business is bent around guys who didn't have a guy like me to talk to, you know?
Right.
And so, and to be honest, I didn't have a guy like me to talk to, you know?
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just think you just shorter, more brief, more frequent, whatever, until he goes, oh my God, Daddy's on the phone again. You know what I mean?
Right. I got to pick up the frequency to show more of a presence.
Yeah.
Because what's happening, and I don't want to be too long-winded, but what's starting to happen, obviously he's 2, you always hear about the terrible 2s or whatever.
Yeah.
He's starting to show out a little bit more, but he's just emotional and he doesn't know how to express himself.
Yeah, sure.
And, right, so, but it's starting to, you know, my wife is pregnant.
Yeah.
Normally I would be there to be that physical force to say, hey, if you got to sit down, sit down.
Yeah.
Right, don't move. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
like,
I've done that on FaceTime. Like, where he's wilding out and she'll call me and I'll be like, yo, what's wrong? You know, because, but I mean, I wish she would discipline him, but she just don't have, this is her first child.
They don't.
And this is her first child. And she had, her mom was shitty to her. And so, you know, when that happens, you got, you know, the woman goes one way or the other. She becomes just like her mom, where she's neglectful, or she's like my wife, where she's just involved in everything. Like, you know, my son bakes and he finger paints and he regular paints and he does sculpture and he has 4 farms that she takes him to see the animals. He knows the animals. He goes to the aquarium. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you know, but she's over the top, and he cons her. So I believe my son is a little bit on the spectrum. He's like hyper smart. He's been reading since he was like 2, but I also think he's a little bit on the spectrum socially. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's so isolated with her. I'll give you an example. Today, he likes Peppa Pig. And he goes, where's the Peppa Pig car? Right? And she goes, I don't know. I think it's outside in the backyard. Do you want me to go get it? And in my mind, I'm going, let him go get his own.
Go get it. Yeah.
But no, she will stop everything, stop cooking dinner, whatever, go in the backyard and look for this Peppa Pig thing. And what she doesn't understand is she's making him so dependent upon her. But a lot of that has to do with her insecurities about her own childhood, that she's really living her childhood through him. Right. And I wish I could affect that, but you got to also understand something. You can only affect what you can affect.
And that's what I got to realize. But like you said, the frequency hopefully can change.
Yeah.
And impact in his mind that, you know, Daddy's always here in some way. Even though I can't be there physically because what my wife would do. And
I get that.
She's a wonderful wife.
And she's not going to be, she's not going to be a wonderful father. Like, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, right. She talk. And I'm like, after, like Bill Cosby said, once you say something, if they say no, when you go and get them is yes.
Yes.
Right. You know.
Right. You got to move. You got to move them so that there's no wiggle room between what I said and what I expect you to do. And I can't really. I'm not there, so I can't enforce that. And he so it's funny because he has this thing where she'll go, Dante, eat your dinner, and he'll go, no. And then she goes, try again. And he'll go, yes. And then he'll eat, you know, so it's like, but, you know, I think the frequency, like if you said, one of the things that you said, did you speak to him for an hour sometime at night? Man, break that up to 10, 15 minutes. I mean, let's be honest. When do we ever, as a kid, when do we ever want to do something for an hour? You know,
Right.
it's the spurts of it is much more important, man. You can get a kid a huge gift and spend a shitload of money, or you can get him a little action figure every day, and they love that more because of the fact that it's the frequency of it.
That's right.
So yeah, but I mean, I would say increase the frequency, bro. I think it'll make a big difference. And when he gets older, and inform your wife that when he says, "Where's Daddy?" You get you on the phone,
Right.
immediately.
Immediately.
I mean,
Right.
here's the crazy. My son he'll have the phone there, and he'll be eating, FaceTiming me, and he'll be ignoring me, and I'll hang up, and he'll hit he knows how to hit the button. He hits the button, calls me back like, "Yo, what you doing? You just well, who told you could get off the phone?" You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, but you ain't doing nothing. You're not even talking. Yeah, I don't care about that. I want you watch me build blocks, you know? So I think it's, and just being there, I think it makes it, I think it's, hopefully my son won't need consultations. You know what I mean? That's what I'm, all right?
I hear you say it all the time. Yo, one more thing. I know you got to go, but listen, man, from real talk, I'll just say this, real talk. It's an honor for you to, for me to chop it up with you. I'm glad you're doing these live consultations. It's been years.
Do me a favor, please. And that's anybody who's listening, anybody who's in the chat, please tell a friend, man. Please, let's spread this movement. I'm getting ready to hook up with somebody to do like with a men's group and stuff. But I mean, we need to move this movement, we need to spread this movement because there's so many clowns just spitting out nonsense and it's absurd.
Yeah. Are you still doing the political podcast? Is that still coming?
I was gonna do it, and I'm so into political stuff, but I just think this is so much more important.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's at the root.
Yeah.
It's at the root of everything.
Yeah.
Right. I get you.
So I appreciate you, family. All right.
All right, bro.
Later.
All right, thanks, man.
Yo, we got a super chat from Victor G 10264. Thank you so much, man. $5 in the building for the super chat. Thank you. His super chat says, Dante, can you speak about your experience to advice with working successful, intelligent guys? I don't mean to sound standoffish. Not sure what that means. But Victor, intelligent guys are the hardest guys to consult because they can find 100 different ways to come up with excuses to lie to themselves. So if they're insecure and they're afraid because for the same reason that the guys who are not really, but they know how to hide it because they can intellectualize. They can intellectualize why they're not doing something and come up with all kinds of. I had a guy who's like, he's a really successful dude. Really smart. He's a financial guy, and he goes, calls me up one day. We're doing a consultation, and he's, like, what does it all mean? I mean, why are we even doing this in the grand scheme of things? I mean, life is so. I'm like, look, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna stop talking that bullshit, right? And you're gonna go figure out how to put your dick in somebody's pussy. That's what we're gonna do, because all of this is you being afraid of the fact that you might get rejected. And so you don't want to put yourself out there, and you don't want to have real relationships and real connections with humanity and intimate connections with people because you're afraid of being rejected. And so I'm not going to let you, for my own personal integrity, I'm not going to let you make me be I'm not going to let you assassinate my own integrity. You full of shit. We know what it is. You're afraid of what the rejection is, and I'm not going down this road. And because we're not going down that road, they'll go here. They go, yeah, well, I guess you're right. But you got to back them into the corner. Now, here's another thing, Victor, that a lot of the times the guys are successful, they're successful because they have been pushed and they have been held at a higher standard that, oh, you got to do this. You get this a lot of times with immigrants that come here from another country, and it's like they don't care about happiness. They don't care about self-fulfillment, any of that, because they come from a place where education, money, education, doctor, prestige, engineer, lawyer. I mean, that's how they come down from it, and that's the only thing that matters. And a lot of times people are still miserable. So we're at a place where this generation and the generations, we're just starting to understand that happiness is not just having money. I mean, when we talk about, I was talking about the Diddy thing, and it's like, this dude is, how unfulfilled is this dude that he had all this money and power and spent all of this money and power bending people's will to validate his value and the fact that he had dominion over people. Because make no mistakes about it, that whole thing is about that. That's about insecurity. It's about an insecure guy who didn't grow up with no daddy, who gained power, was driven to gain power, and the first thing he did was not help people. He did nothing but hurt people, take advantage of people, because having dominion and power over them was more important than anything else. And it's really a sad situation that all these people got caught up in the fact that his father didn't tell him he loved him or didn't FaceTime him enough. But thank you, Victor. So yeah, I get that those intellectual and successful guys have the hardest problem because they're on that path because they've been pushed into that direction and it is expected of them. The hardest thing for them is to really kind of ask themselves what makes them happy, what actually is involved in their happiness. And a lot of times they're not even in a situation where they've asked that because there's been so much parental pressure for them to be successful that they can't do nothing else, if that makes sense. All right, God damn, we've been on for 2 hours. Shit. Thank y'all so much for calling. Let me just go through the banners real quick. The number was up. Let's see. Here's the PayPal and the Cash App. Y'all, I appreciate that. That's running. Don't forget the Patreon. It's patreon.com, www.patreon.com/manschool202. Also the one-on-one consultations is DanteNero.com. Click on consult. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all are so. I'm sorry about all the technical problems we had in the beginning, but I think we got moving later on. But I appreciate y'all sticking with me. Please tell a friend. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, all the platforms, X, especially YouTube, my personal YouTube as well. YouTube, Dante Nero, YouTube. That's really important. Hit the bell so that every time I go live, y'all will be the first to know. Tell a friend. Let's spread this movement. GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, What Would Dante Do? The Sexual Revolution is being podcasted. Yo, I love y'all, man. Appreciate y'all, and I love y'all in ways that you could never know. Don't forget me.